Hello,
This
hello.
feels like a dream, like the vibe.
Yeah, it's very hazy. Totally.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we were having a good
mic
talk in the
problem,
VCs
so
earlier.
No,
gonna fix it.
I'm not. Woohoo! Well,
Wait, was that
actually,
this
I
morning
have
or
it
yesterday
on
morning?
That's great. That's great.
headset, like a over ear headset with like separate. Yeah, this works.
Nice.
When all else fails, use another device.
Nice to see everybody. Nice to have you here, Theo.
Yeah, I really enjoyed our talk before, Theo. I'll say it was probably one of my hardest reflective listening challenges, but I really appreciate the way you express things, you know?
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Reflective listening is always challenging. Come on, man.
So just so you know, we are streaming. And this is the part where we check in about norms and talk about how we set up our group tonight so that we can have a healthy and healing journey. So, Carl, why don't you run this part? I'll just throw you in.
All right. Sounds good to me. So yeah, as Heyueh said, we like to first kind of establish our norms here before we get into sharing. So we'll kind of probably just go around in order here, I'd say, since there's only a few of us. And I'll kind of go for an easy one that kind of is broad, you know, the whole... Oh my God, my dog slammed into the door. Scared the crap out of me.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. And, you know, that kind of... Well, that's a different norm I was going to say about, you know, explaining what you're doing or if you got to leave. Not leaving. I don't know. There's also a bunch of children out here screaming like it's an amusement park. Like it sounds like children going down a roller coaster out there. Like I don't know what the heck's going on. Okay. But yeah, be kind. That was the norm I was sharing. Right. Yeah, exactly. They're not dead, so it's fine. Be kind kind of, you know, applies broadly to a lot of stuff. The reflective listening, as I mentioned, you know, practicing with Theo, and just giving people space to speak. All of that stuff applies in be kind. I think we could sit here and do a whole event on how the norm of be kind applies to everything. So, you got one, Lau?
I think.
Just to clarify, it's like a standard to have in the conversation, basically.
Yeah. So let me reiterate real quick for you, Theta, since you haven't been to a bunch of our events yet. If you click on Lau, or wait, is yours? I don't know what your banner is, Lau. It's the right colors, but it's it's just blank.
Oh,
but
that's
on me and Ruth,
It's an open mind.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, if you click on me or Ruth and you expand the menu in the top right corner to the big size and then go to our groups on the right side, you can see the Bridge Makers group. You can see the norms and guidelines listed there on the right. So if you want to look for one that you would like to, that you like or would like to share, that's where you'll find them.
Yeah.
All right, you got some more thinking time there, Lau. You got one for us?
Wow. I would say listen more and pay attention on listening, because we are not taught to listen to someone else since we are young. We are just told that we should, maybe in other culture, you should, like, you know, tell your opinion. In my culture, I'm told to shut up, but no one else listen. So
yeah, and that's, you know, I think that broadly applies to, like, where Ruth and I throwing out our emojis there. There's ways that you can show that reflective listening and that you're following along without jumping in and giving that reflection back quite yet. You know, it's not the time yet. George?
I know be kind is overrepresented, but I really, really want to add to that one. Today I was like in a conflict with somebody, and I stayed kind through that conflict, which helped a lot. But it still took a toll on me, and I had to be kind to myself. Like I recognized that and made time for myself after that, which was also really, really helpful. And now, because of that, I could make time for this.
Yeah. So that's a value you're bringing here. You are practicing the kindness. Is there one that hasn't been mentioned that you want to also name as far as a norm?
RSVP.
That's a really
There
good one.
you go.
Can you say more? Like, tell us more about RSVP and how do you do that?
Hey, a drop in the modern slang. Say more, fam.
Yeah, exactly.
It shows it's kind of helps communicate to others like what to expect for attendance, and in a way it's related to kindness as a way of like sharing that intention beforehand.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's about all I got on that matter.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'll elaborate a bit there and say that, you know, if I hadn't manipulated the system a bit, we might not be having our event right now because we didn't have 3 folks. You guys were both signed up, but Theo, you know, maybe didn't know how to do that quite yet. But I went and kind of poked a friend to move their RSVP from maybe to attending, so we had our 3. But yeah, without that baseline of 3, we aren't sure that there's even going to be an event to be had. So the norm we're establishing there is kind of canceling the event.
Yeah.
No, it keeps catching my eye too, and I'm like, ooh, butterfly.
Nice. It is quite beautiful, you're right. Yeah, so Theo, what about you?
Off of the guidelines, like kind of spurring into a conversation about it is what I'm getting at, right, with this.
Well, if there's any particular one that you think is, you know, valuable to share or that resonates with you.
Yeah, that was the one I noticed. Let me read it again. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I had it this week with talking to a couple of friends about this as well, like, status set to orange. In general, if you want to bring a friend, make sure to check in with the event host first. Normally, like things like these events or with circumstances of all of us coming together and having this conversation, you know, some of these events, you know, harbor in, you know, very interesting individuals or whatnot, which I had a conversation last night about with some friends, and recognizing that wherever you go in a community, you're always going to find somebody who isn't like always like-minded in the group that you're a part of or whatnot, and so you have to always have a boundary to set for circumstances, and also recognizing like because a community is something largely connected together. It's like it's when it's down into the roots of it, it really becomes the aspect of everybody knowing each other's names, everybody knowing each other's personalities and all that sort of stuff, and really being connected in that way that everyone knows the other person. Like my group has where you do meditation, but before the meditation starts, you all, everybody there tells them their names, and then they talk about their practice and all that. And so that sense of like connection to building relationships is very important, and there are boundaries to set for people who don't understand that, but it's also important to recognize if there is somebody trying to be a part of your community or your experiences, then having the patience to slowly integrate, and allow that space for them.
Right.
Mute didn't want to come off. Yeah, and I appreciate you really went deep into that, and the idea that, if you're allowing, we're creating this space for our event, and, we're setting our norms here, we kind of have this expectation of what's going on. So when somebody joins up late, they're going to come in and maybe not know exactly what's going on so far.
Mm-hmm.
So the norm there being too, that the ending part of that if you are, in a smaller event like this and you're really, wanting to bring people in, you are taking that responsibility to be the one to bring them up to speed,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Welcome, Crescent. We were just sharing our norms. Not sure, do you know how to look at the Bridgemakers group in VR chat?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Kind of.
Okay. Well, if you click on me or Heyueh with your launchpad open, and then click the top right corner to expand it to the big menu, and then on the right, it shows our group that we're representing, and you can hit View All or just click directly on Bridgemakers there. And then down on the right side, there's guidelines and norms. And those, if you want to pick one of those out, we did mention kindness and RSVPs, and I'm blanking on what Lau said, but Theo brought up the status being on orange so that we don't have people joining up mid-event who
I see.
are just looking to hang out with somebody.
Yeah. Real quick. There we go. Alright. Should be on orange.
Okay. So yeah, were there any of those norms there on that menu that you see, or just anything that you'd want to share as a group norm that you think is valuable?
None yet. I'm still looking through. Sorry.
It's okay.
It's all good.
I think it kind of covers what's there, other than this is being recorded and streamed. I'll say that another time, just because not everyone was here when I said that before. And it's not a therapy group, was the other thing on there.
Yeah, and I'll throw out one for you, Crescent, that we tend to put as no Irish goodbyes, check in, check out. We know George was having some problems with his audio device, so we weren't surprised to see him drop, and I expect him to come back once he's figured it out. So that way we kind of know what's going on. If somebody disappears randomly, we don't think we drove them away, or maybe something concerning happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice. Cool. Thank you, Carl. So the next part of our time together is actually just checking in about one thing that is difficult around building community, whether you identify as a leader or you are working on building community for yourself. This is a place you can name that one thing and just know that this isn't necessarily a place to have that fixed instantly. This is a place to let that part air out and be witnessed and reflected back. And please pay attention to each other, because what we'll invite you to do is that everybody gets to practice reflective listening and try to offer back what somebody shared without, again, going into fix-it mode of just mirroring it, echoing it, saying, I hear you, and this is what I heard you say. So that's our first hour. And then our second hour is going to be going on a world hop and asking ourselves, why does this world support making community, and why might it break community? Who is this world not good for? And we're going to go to a few different worlds and answer that question. So if you've been here before, hopefully you have been scouting a little bit, and you can take us to some world as if you plan to bring us to that one. So we can ask that question. If you haven't and you still have one in mind, we can try that. They need to be quest friendly. So just keep that in mind.
I've
Who would
gotten a little too used to this where I was at Newbies yesterday and we did our world hop because it was a fairly small group. And like I'm like wanting to ask, so what do you guys think is good about this world?
Nice. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to get feedback from people who have attended this group that that routine of a question is making them start to go into all worlds and go, who does this world push away? And who does this world bring in? And even though we come up with silly answers sometimes, that makes us citizens of VR. That makes us taking care of each other beyond the groups that we tend to or think we're responsible for, of knowing that some people will feel less welcome in some worlds, and some people will feel too welcome almost, where they're going to just be all of themselves and not try to blend with the rest of the community. And just noticing how our environments teach us how to belong together and who gets to
Yeah, it's
belong
like
together.
programming that
Mhm.
reaction.
Yeah.
I think Theta and I were actually talking about lucid dreaming, and I talked about kind of using that strategy of like asking yourself if you're dreaming every time you see kind of X object.
Mm-hmm.
And like we're kind of doing that same thing with this of just
Mhm.
like, oh, world's loading.
Yeah.
What's it gonna be?
Yeah. And how does this affect my dream? I often think about VR as a collective dreaming space. This is where we're all sharing the same dream together. And we're sharing somebody else's dream many times because we're in other people's worlds. And so understanding that our mind didn't necessarily create this, but it's still reading it as if it did. So it can really impact us on a deep level without knowing it. And
It's pretty much
especially
the lore of Skyrim, Elder Scrolls.
Oh,
well.
interesting. Yeah.
The Godhead and the Dreamer.
It seems also interesting too, because ultimately too, there's just perceptions of experience that do that same sort of thing as well. Like the experience conditions into a deeper subconscious level of like what we're experiencing that gives us sort of connections to things we're not yet not too aware of that are happening in an unconscious way.
Yeah. Thank you. Who has a pain point you'd like to start with?
What was that again? A pain point?
Mm-hmm. Just an area that's kind of rubbing a little bit raw around building community. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I can start.
I can go
Lau's
first.
ready. Yeah, please.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. Okay. I have two, but they are kind of equal. The first thing is about the members are not being really initiative, which I'm still trying to figure out how to solve it, because usually it wouldn't be the members' problem. It would be my problem that the members are not initiative. The second thing is about how to make like how to attract people into the community and how to let the community put into people's vision. These two are, the first one is appearing like recently because I've started hosting event. The second is a long-term problem, and I'm still thinking a way to do it. I am mainly thinking about social media or posting videos, but it's gonna take a lot of effort. That's basically it.
Thank you, Lau. Who would like to try reflecting Lau's sharing back to him?
I can go.
Yeah.
I am trying to move down the sandwich real quick, so.
Oh, let George go. He was gonna talk there.
Yeah, if George is ready, yeah, please.
Mhm. George, are you talking? Or did you glitch again? You're glitching. Okay. I will offer this back, and this will be some modeling. So, Lau, I'm hearing that your community pain points have to do with how to activate community once they're in to your group, and also how to attract them to come in. Does that fit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The first one is like how to make them, active. Yes, that's basically it. The second is attract attention and make them my community. In front of people's vision. Because like currently, I feel like my server is like the middle child in your family. They just get ignored.
Yeah. So, how to keep people's attention once they're in, and also how to advertise them so they do come in. Yeah. And so,
I think that one feels pretty familiar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like the fear is with that pain point? Like, what are you worried is going to happen if you don't solve that problem?
The active, the first point is about being the active members and active server. So I want people to connect and initiate with each other, but also I want them to really learn something from what I've hosted. I want them to actively learn from something and search purpose. So if I don't see them doing it, I feel like my guides it's not good enough, or maybe it is no purpose or no reward, because I feel like what's the result of the guide is it should be making more intimate relationships for them. But if I don't see that, it kind of just like makes me doubt on myself.
Yeah. So there's something about watching
I'm afraid that I'm not doing good.
Right. Watching your community grow at some percentile, and watch that once they came in the door, they're able to get something valuable and offer value to each other that feels like a mirror of your value and what you're providing.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's very accurate. Yes. The second one is about being under the people's vision, so I can keep the server active, and it's not like that. They are keeping the server active, but I am not doing the work. I'm just afraid that it's gonna be inactive for a long time.
Yeah.
And eventually, it will be that server. That's what we call.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome back, George. Nice to see you.
And Julie's here.
And Julie's here. Welcome, Julie. Come on in.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. We're just doing our pain point check-ins. And so Lau just shared. George tried to reflect back, and it obliterated him. So he's back.
Oh, no.
Sometimes reflective listening
I'm
can
so
blast
sorry.
you out
It
of
might
the
be too painful
space.
for you.
I know. It's so painful. George melted into the pixel sphere. We're glad you're back, George. Would
Mic
you
working?
like to try sharing
Yeah, it should
your
be
pain
this
point?
thing. Me?
Yeah.
I know I brought this up before, but it's just managing the discomfort of joining these spaces even with technical issues, because it seems like I always am having technical issues. And just like still showing up regardless, and reflecting, and just making it work. So yeah.
Yeah. So can you name the fear a little bit more about what's behind showing up with technical issues?
Oh, yeah. That was in the cave also, the fear of burdening the community, because there can be uncertainty about like about how much pain or troubleshooting or whatever can be brought into a community
Mm-hmm.
when those things happen.
And do you have a sense of how you would know if it was overburdening a community? What would be the evidence of that?
As a participant, I think the threshold's higher, but like as a facilitator, it'd be pretty disruptive, especially if a person is streaming or something.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, you mean them being the one having the technical
right.
issues and being the one streaming? Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But for
Well,
you
I have a question, a reflective question, maybe.
Okay.
Now, don't be scared. Would it be maybe counter evidence to that fear if I told you my response to that is like, maybe we should have a tech support, tech guidance channel place. We have a lot of folks who are new to VR and such coming into the community,
It's interesting, Carl, and it's definitely in
So
the
it's a
realms
double
of trying
question.
to
So it
fix
wasn't
it.
really a question for you. It was a thought for you. So just a thought. Don't answer it. And but that's my reaction to your sharing that, I know that things can be difficult in that way. And I've never had the reaction of like, ugh, I wish they'd just stay offline. You know what I mean? It's more like,
Right.
They want to be here. They're trying so hard. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. My mind doesn't really go that way if I ever think about the burden of troubleshooting. It's more of a feeling, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's all. But that feeling is, uncomfortable. So I guess it's part of the experience.
And everyone here can kind of amplify. So sometimes when we fear something, really getting concrete about it and nailing down, how would I know that I had burdened people? Would they be like, George is here again? Like, would that be the sign? What would actually happen to say, okay, I pushed it over the line, right? And if it's not there, could that be its own reassurance? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it.
And I guess that's the part where trusting the I guess the lack of conflict is good. And I will admit I'm still a little on edge today because I did have conflict that I dealt with earlier. So I'm sure that's like there might still be maybe cortisol or something's a little elevated still. But I know this is a different space.
Conflict, right? At first I thought you said chocolate, and I was like, oh no, how does that affect you?
I also had chocolate, and that was wonderful. But no, I had an IRL conflict. Nothing
but it was
serious,
conflict.
but it was stressful.
Yeah.
I almost sent that one too.
Thank you, George. It's okay to also bring your conflicts here. So next time, maybe if the techie stuff doesn't swim that stuff up, you can bring the actual conflict you had. Yeah. Jog, your turn. What's your pain point this week?
Well, it kind of piggybacks onto last week's pain point, which I believe was that my mother was ignoring me on a family thread, and I had put out the topic of visiting because I'm going back to her area of the world. And she called me, and I thought, oh, she wants to talk about visiting. That's great. But she did do that. But the painful part is that I think what she really wanted to talk about was that my daughter is participating in the California State Track Meet, which is controversial because of a trans athlete. And my daughter actually competes against that athlete in in one event in particular. She just qualified in one event. And I think my mom wanted like the gossip on it and to express her own opinion, which is counter to mine, and it felt pretty icky and painful. Yeah.
Who would like to try
That's a
reflecting
big
that
one.
back to Julie?
Lau's got it.
Same problem, same one to reflect. So not only she gets silenced down, but also even though there's a hope that's arising, which is talking about the visiting, but eventually it is just about, gossiping. It's not even caring about the relationship between them. It's about their daughter's gossip, which is, it's not even about relationship. It is just seeking for fun, which totally denies the intention of Jogs. I hope that's accurate.
That feel like it
Yeah.
reflected you, Jog?
I did. He said it denies my intention, which is connection and not being silenced, to communicate. And her intention was to talk about something that's very divisive. Yeah. And that's the opposite. Yep.
Thank you. Oof. Crescent, what about you?
I can't really say I have like, I don't know. I had to do like a lot of work this week, a little bit more than I was supposed to. So for context, I'm a bit of a workaholic, and I'm supposed to be taking a month off for the meantime, and just kind of mellowing out a bit, and that's kind of why I'm here on VR chat and why I'm brand new. But yeah, a couple unexpected things with family happened yesterday. Yeah, a little bit of yesterday, a lot more today, and I had to take some time off, and then because of that, I had to rush back and work on that as well. And yeah, I thankfully was able to finish everything, but I pushed myself a little bit harder than I should have today, and I made some mistakes. Yeah, and I'm a little disappointed in myself because it was definitely a mistake that I made while rushing, and I shouldn't have. I should have had a lot clearer of a head. And thankfully, it's nothing too serious. But I just kind of had to take a step back and kind of force myself to slow down a bit more.
Interesting. Thank you, Crescent. If you don't mind me asking, what do you do for work? Since that's
It's a little bit of everything. For right now, I'm working simultaneously on aircraft design, engine design, and also prosthetics. And it's the prosthetics part that I'm a little bit more stressed out about because those are people who need help, right? And I'm trying to not rush through that because that takes a lot of time and a lot of care for people. So I have to rush all the other bits of the work. And yeah, I've also been trying to train more people to kind of fill in my shoes where I'm not able to. Because there's kind of a lack of personnel where I'm from, so it's just me for the most part. And that's also been a little bit stressful too, in terms of like, am I a good teacher for them?
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Who would like to try to reflect Crescent's sharing back?
I would.
Okay, Carl.
And I want to take a quick opportunity to double check myself, I guess. And then, but you are who I was talking to at The Body Keeps the Score? Okay, different avatar currently, and then I did their intro ticket and everything, and I'm terrible with names sometimes if they don't stick just right. So, but so yeah, as far as your woe here, I empathize a lot. I'm hearing you say, you're you're mainly just wanting to help as much as you can at work, and sometimes that doesn't go as planned, and you kind of got to reevaluate the situation and just keep on trying, right?
That's part of it for sure.
Definitely.
Did anybody hear other pieces that Crescent was offering?
Yeah, I was trying to be pretty general, so if anybody has got more specifics.
There's some deeper pain in there. Seeing if anyone heard the deeper thing.
Family I heard.
Oh. Go ahead, yeah.
You can go.
Not good enough as a teacher.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. But yeah, like sort of the aspect of like, am I doing enough, or and also like, is my method even right too? Like getting into that space of trying to be into your being to follow into an example for others.
Okay, that's another one. That's a branch of it. Yeah. Jog, you had one there.
Oh, there were family issues. He didn't go into detail, but that could be an indicator that these things are very deep and complex, as family issues often are, I think.
Okay. Yeah, so it's really interesting what everybody heard there. The piece that I heard that seemed underneath it all was you're actually on a timeout right now for yourself, and you're supposed to not be doing lots of stuff. And
yeah,
all the stuff you're doing is a habit based piece, but you're struggling with figuring out how to rest and not build into community through work and everything else right now. That fit?
Yeah, that's a big chunk of it as well. I talked with George about that last night.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. So, I think the question is, what are our building pain points? And so sometimes the building pain point is I need to stop building right now. And I don't know how to do that. I've just been in go mode for so long. And when we reflect back, oh, you're having problems building, then it can take you further away from the goal right now is to stop and fill that space with something renewing for yourself. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you. This is a really important one. If we don't know how to stop building, then it gets into the realm of compulsive, and compulsive will make mistakes. It burns us out to be compelled, but not internally renewed. So, yeah, thank you. Theo, your turn.
I think from last night's discussion a bit too, has been difficult to identify with where I'm, because on one hand I recognize like it's kind of similar to what Crescent had with building too much, but I think it's also an aspect of like not identifying with my own experience to recognize like having the moments to see through my information or my connections, and also seeing through my practices as well, like where my time is spent or with what I'm doing with it, or how I want it for myself to be in a space that can rest but also be encouraged to, because I genuinely like feel like I had a really great conversation last night about being able to be in your being to create things, because that's always like what the essence of God like did for us, and we follow into that path in our being of humanity. And sort of something I just seem to really get worried about is like the parts of my humanity, or the parts of my ego or mind that worry about if this is the right thing to keep or the right thing to do, and also like to reflect and experience like the processes of the paths in which enlightenment takes us, and being in that place to be those ancient like with what I've heard from certain lectures, being that ancient um, guidance, and recognizing like how I cannot fall into it all the time within the change. But I also recognize too that it takes patience into ourselves and our being. But it's like, how am I supposed to answer to what my ego is, accepting it, changing it, and is that right? And then what everything's leading me to, is this a path that is hurting me, or is this a path that is growing me? Or it's being very conflicted on a lot of levels within my family, my friends, and myself.
Wow. Thank you, Theo. Who would like to try reflecting Theo back?
I'll go.
Okay.
It seems that there's a sense of internal conflict and uncertainty about uh, about the parts of your mind or the ego that desires and strives, especially for change and and maybe even progress and goals as well. Um, and Clearly, like, you're very mindful of that and how it seems to affect your life. and and if I understand ego correctly, like, it is kind of the source of a lot of our motivations, ideas, and desires.
Mm.
So it seems like there's a lot of tension holding that awareness and trying to find wisdom and clarity through that storm of desires, needs, and fears and concerns amidst the uncertainty of a life in presence.
Yeah, it's part of it too. If I could add, like, the problem I'm recognizing is how to, because with pain, or with frustration, or with any sensation that my mind has, how not to identify to being in that that vortex of the change within that space, and just recognizing how to observe it without it holding me back.
I'm kind.
It sounds like you're close to it, or even able to find that space in retrospect, but the greatest challenge is having that space when the moment comes, when the emotions and challenges and fears happen.
Yeah.
I feel like we're swimming in clouds a little bit right now, and I'm curious if there's a deeper way to name it, as I'm all about the deepening, which is you're struggling with figuring out who you are in relationship to the things you are trying to get to and change and transform. But you're working with the sense of I. So the I that starts the sentence. Who am I with this thing so that I can hold me and then therefore build a bridge with whatever is happening? Does that land?
You always say like the most interesting things for that. I feel like it's like a place in my body and mind that wants to synchronize and be into my soul's being, because I recognize that too has been happening a lot too, and just not being so broken apart by it at times, or having moments so it creates insight or inspiration or wisdom or awareness, so that what my there was an ancient monk who was chased by an interviewer before while the train was coming on, and he was asking him like something to write down, and what he wrote down was, "My life is my message," and sort of like trying to recognize into that place, but having the issue with my ego and myself finding my way.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I appreciate everybody's work to practice reflective listening here, and sometimes I'm jumping in because there's a lot that we can share, but the question is, what am I reflecting back that is bringing somebody more into themselves instead of the thing they're focusing on outside of themselves? And sometimes, even though it can be easy pickings to grab a fruit of what the actual problem might seem like, and there is reflection there, coming back to the, how do I feel in my body right now, listening to this person? How do I honor the deepest struggle I can find that joins all the other pain pieces together? And yeah, so I appreciate what you're exploring here is how to stay solid with you being in relationship with other. And that goes back to the question of ego. What is ego? Ego gets a really bad rap in a lot of cultures. How do you define ego?
That's a rough one for me.
Yeah.
I like to think I don't have much of one, but I also know that's flawed.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. What is ego?
For me, it is quite in some degree, it's confidence. So I can admit that I have huge ego in only one game. I have really huge ego in that one game. It is Dota. When it comes to that game, I cannot stop myself. It is really toxic, but also it depends on.
At least it's not League.
How.
So you're learning what ego is in gaming. That's really interesting, Lau.
Yes, I learned ego from gaming. Yeah, and it's like, in some degree, it's good. Like if you're controlling your ego, it's really great to, as in like increasing your personality, because you can stand up for yourself if something goes wrong or you feel it's not right. It's also like a protecting like a mechanism in yourself that I feel like it's good. But when it goes over the line, you become very ego. You just don't tend to not.
You froze again.
So ego for me. Okay, did I froze? Yeah, I think it's like a connection issue. So let me simplify. Ego is like a confidence, but you do not want to be overconfident because it makes you ignore everybody than yourself.
There you go. My ego can become so big I can't tell the difference between you and me.
Yes. Yeah. Or I'm setting myself over you.
I put myself bigger than you. Yeah. What are other definitions of ego? Yeah, Crescent.
For me, ego, if like self-reflection is like a painting of yourself, ego's kind of like the highlights and the vivid colors that help you define yourself against the world.
Good one. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a really good one. It's the silver lining of the shadow that we project. Huh.
Hmm.
Wow. Clever. I've never heard that one before. The place we want people to see. Yeah.
For me, what I recognize with ego, because it's inherently the same as mind, because both are the essence of your experience from the subconscious that constructs your being to mold into many perspectives of yourself within your reflection of your experience into this reality. And it is something that holds very deep meaning, understanding, and perspectives. It's a constantly changing perspective, because one thing with the ego is that when you recognize into releasing your ego, or abandoning your ego, or accepting into and letting go, like any of those processes, what you find is how much because it's always associated into the thinking mind, where ego becomes thinking, feeling, and emotions, because it's all tied to the conditions of our ways to remember these experiences, these times, the conditioning of what makes us inherently defined from my name, my beliefs, my history, and all of that, because it's all a story that the ego is following along. It's the identity into the story, and yourself, and to others, and to your family and your friends, and it will always like change, but it has a very difficult time recognizing when it's not being open, when it's not being open or reflective of its own
very, very hard
nature.
to hold up a mirror to the ego.
Maybe. The best way that I've found to understand ego is through a story that I'm going to probably just simplify here, but that once upon a time, a caterpillar.
Neither of us have shared yet, and we're just hitting our first hour. I know we both can talk as well, so.
Yeah. It's an important one when we talk about community building. When we don't have enough ego, we can become so selfless that we burn ourselves out very quickly. And when we have too much ego, we're not listening to our environment, like Lau was saying. And so we can take up so much space that we don't have anybody else holding space with us eventually. So the caterpillar story is that a caterpillar came upon a chrysalis, and the caterpillar said, "Wow, you are so self-centered. You're not paying attention to anything outside of you. What's wrong with you?" And the chrysalis said back to the caterpillar, "Wow, you are so selfish. You are eating everything you come across." So which one had ego? And I like that story because I don't ever answer it for myself, but I believe those are two manifestations of how ego can look.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like both, wouldn't it be?
It could be, yeah. And yet the truth is both are doing what they are meant to be doing. And so when ego gets harmful, it's usually because we get stuck in a state, we get rigid, and we get fixed on something. And so, but there is importance in being self-centered. There is importance in selfishness. And in the right doses, that makes us able to dance with each other and build better bridges and break them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will say everyone speaking so far has made it really hard to express my woe, because they've just been like refined, and it gets all kind of aspects, you know. And I will maybe make a request. We've been going around in a circle, but if you could then go last, then I could go next.
Okay, sure.
Because otherwise I feel like I'm just going to get into a whole nother level of how I need to modify what I'm thinking of saying.
Okay.
And I have referred to my work situation a few times here recently, but there's like a specific situation that's happened that I think is really like it ties into a lot of like even previous kind of woes I've expressed that were more broad that are, I think, ultimately boil down to the same thing, where like I've had people ask me like, how do you, how are you so chill, or how do you, help, people open up in a certain way, and I can never really express that. Like I can teach people facts, I can tell people things that I think are cool all day long, but you can't really teach somebody charisma, and I think myself that was something that was kind of hard fought to learn, but not in a very intentional way, just kind of kept trying, and eventually I got to a healthy ego sort of way about myself to where it's, I'm confident in my own mind and persona, and just by being chill. And like I even think it goes a little towards like what Crescent was saying, like when it comes to burnout, like I really don't feel that I've gotten even really close to it since my VR chat days started and my community relations, just because I've kind of developed this mindset of like I'm real big on like categorizing things as like things you need, things you want, and things you need have to be done. And I want to hang out and talk and build communities, but I need to chill. I need my alone time and time where I just browse the internet or watch videos or play a game or whatever, and then maybe I'm talking to people hanging out in the community during that time, but that's my kind of, I need that to refuel the battery, that's the common metaphor. So to bring it back to the specific thing that was bothersome to me was at work, in this new building I've been moved to, I've got a lot of soft power. I'm not a manager, but in my seniority and experience and the framework of being moved to this new building, basically people are like, yeah, that guy knows what's up. Ask him if you got questions, and I can just kind of walk up to people and be like, oh, that's wrong. Stop that. We do it this way. And I want to, like as Crescent's saying, I'm not trying to come in there and run the show. I want to show them how to do it themselves. I want to model the right way and let them just take the ball and run with it. So somebody was being proactive and was doing that. This guy started referring to himself as the lead and stuff, and his managers got a little upset about that to some degree. I didn't get all the details, but he kind of got smacked down to just like, all right, you're just going to watch over these machines here and stay here. And it was very boring. He was trying to get all organizational and start developing stuff, and trying to express to him like, you didn't have the hard power that you wanted yet. You were starting to develop that. You need to kind of chill out and pick your battles and decide when to engage, all that sort of thing, and kind of trying to teach somebody how to wield that soft power, or just how to be a good conversationalist is quite difficult. So that idea of I like to teach, but I think the thing I have that people keep telling me is the most valuable asset I have, I don't really know how to share that.
Who wants to try reflecting Carl back to himself?
What I was hearing, it's like representing for other people to acknowledge the things and information you know best, with trying to help others and helping them help themselves in a way, and having the patience or like the kindness and compassion to come around, like it feels not acknowledged in a way, or having no having no sense of like accommodation for the advice that's given, to show appreciation in some circumstances, unless I kind of got off point a little bit there.
It's somewhat like I'd say you're kind of getting the essence, but the appreciation is almost the sign to me that like people are, they see in me what they want, but I don't know how to give it to them. Then
Yeah.
we get to that point of like, oh yeah, you appreciate that. Well, I want you to do it for yourself and stop expecting me to be the one to just fix everything here. I want to empower these people, but then they've got their own drama and politics and trying to guide the people who want to excel, while I myself don't have the power to just be like, here's your guy, promote him. I'm just some other guy that other people told him knew what was going on.
So you're trying to teach people how to fish, and they just want fish and chips from you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. The burden of transferring knowledge in a way that maintains itself. It's the hardest thing about community building. How do we
It
build?
seems also like how you can even be in that space to synchronize or attract that information for them too, because ultimately there is too, like, some people will not ever listen to something that isn't meant for them, or something they feel isn't something from someone like you. I've had a couple of my friends when with meditation where they're trying to be like, no, I want to hear it from a great teacher, and telling them, recognizing the perspective, everybody is a great teacher. The moment is your greatest teacher, and that moment is
true, and
is any time.
Yeah, exactly. Because maybe to kind of swerve it into a joy that I get out of this, though, is that when I do, I've talked to person B and I know they know about, C thing, and person A comes along, rather than trying to explain it again to them, I'm just like, oh, I know this person knows about it. Just put them together, make sure that connection kind of sparks real quick, and then just be on my way. That's kind of my favorite thing, when I can just connect to people who I know are going to, be able to bring each other up.
Get two people who want to learn how to fish to teach each other. Wow. So
like,
many
how
pain
to bait the
points.
hook, and you got a good pole. Help each other. See ya.
Figure it out as a puzzle you are both part of. Lovely. Well, my pain point is scheduling stuff. I have so many things to schedule, and I get a lot of scheduling fatigue. It is sometimes I think I don't take any days off because I can't handle the idea of unscheduling all the things I have labored to schedule. So I just keep going. And this week, yesterday actually, I had two people not show up for the time they had already scheduled. And I spent one of those hours actually writing a guide to setting boundaries around people who don't show up when they say they're going to show up. And I posted it on LinkedIn, and just basically writing my boundaries out. And I set the article up so that I could send the link to the article to future people who don't show up for their times, or start to get just kind of
I love it.
really relaxed on recognizing that, like, even though I'm a very compassionate and humane person, there's still disrespect in saying they're going to be somewhere and then they're not. And so people bump into my boundaries. That's a gradient. It's not a black or white, but they bump into them quite a bit, and then I have to reorient people. And so the second person who didn't show up, they said, "Oh, I forgot what day it was," and I was grocery shopping, and they had their reasons. Everybody has their reasons, but basically I just said, listen, like, this is the second time that this is happening. And what I heard you say when we finally did meet was that you're really having some trouble with some of your newer connections and following through on what you've committed to. And so I wish I had really listened to that and just said, why don't we not have a regular time to meet until you feel clear on meeting with me? And so I kind of had to convince the person to not have a regular time with me, which is kind of tough when they've already wasted a lot of my time. But they thankfully yielded to that and were like, oh, you have a lot of wisdom here. Thank you for sharing this. And I agree. I need to step back and figure out what I actually am pulled towards, because they've just reached for a lot of people and things at the same time. So I'm glad I used my hour productively to write the boundary post. I also feel very shy about sending it out because I think it's a little on the nose. I literally say at the end of one of the recipes, I'm like, and then send the link out to this article to people who missed this part, winky face. So it's gonna feel a little shocking, I think, for people. Hello, welcome, Syrian.
Hello.
Glad you're here. It's gonna feel disconcerting to probably see something that prepared, but I do try to explain in the beginning, when your career is online and it's all meetings online, there has to be a rule set on how to process when things are falling away and people are losing their respect of my time. So yeah, that's my pain point. Who would like to reflect my pain point back to me?
I think it's like so
but Theo,
much.
hold on one sec. It looks like George is typing something. Let's see if anybody
Okay.
else wants to take a chance here. Are you going to try to reflect me back? You can't because you just thought about a related story. Okay. Yeah, that can happen when you
Yeah,
hear
it
one
like
story.
triggered
It's
my
okay.
story that happened to me. I was like, oh my god, I feel that. So yeah,
You
I
might
got
need
very
to.
distracted by the memories that
Yeah,
like related.
thank you. That's
You can
really
you,
good
you can share
noticing.
it if you'd like.
Well, I would say you're noticing that the trigger itself keeps you from being present with mine because your story's coming up a lot, right? And that's a way to honor that might not be reflective of mine. It might pull you into your own piece. So I appreciate that. I think there's integrity in that, recognizing when I feel too taken somewhere else. Maybe you want my LinkedIn article to send to whoever you had that conflict with. But yeah,
I think I got a notification about it.
did you?
Read it
Nice
myself.
on LinkedIn. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny because sometimes I post articles and there's a lot of responses very quickly. And so far, I think only one person has liked it, but it does show people are reading it. And I'm like, yeah, everybody's feeling a lot of guilt reading this. They're like, oh my God, I've done that to her. And, it at some point you just got to get really direct. But who would still like to reply or reflect this back? And Sarah-Lynn, what we're doing is just practicing reflective listening right now. Then we're going to go on a little world hop in a few minutes. So
Okay.
Theo's volunteering. Is there anybody else who wants to try who hasn't gotten a chance? Okay, go for it, Theo.
From everything, it's recognizing to be in that space with another person from all the passion you have for that other person, for all kinds of people, and opening up this space to allowing your work shine, and to being so endearing and kind and gentle to every kind of person you meet, and allowing that space for them to understand, to be grateful within the time spent, and especially with the time you spent into all the work you're putting into for it, and being, I understand being nervous with your career with people as well. Like that is, it's a very difficult and scary thing, something I reflect with, where I get very worried about what I am doing with the information I'm gathering, and how it really will help this time I spend, and with the people I have with me, and really just also like finding that like finding it outside of like your comfort zone to being like more patient with others, or open, but then recognizing to set your own boundaries and recognize that you've put in the work too. So why should I, do this for them? But I recognize I have to have moments that are open for everybody. And just so much to it, like with especially that message too. It's like it's your frustration, like emanating into hoping that someone hears you. Like that it seems in all those ways that it's wanting to be heard, and it's also wanting people to listen and having their experiences open up so they can talk, and they can also listen in the same way you do.
Maybe. Yeah, there's some pieces to that. I'm going to make it more simple and see if somebody can reflect this back to me, because I know I talked for a while. The simple version is, if we pretend that time is money, whether I'm giving something away for free or I'm actually like charging somebody for the time, let's pretend that, and in some cases this is true, 1 hour of my time is worth $350. When somebody shows up over 5 minutes late to something with me, that $350 is cost in just that 10 minutes. The waiting and the managing of that container that's ruptured costs me a lot energetically. And then I have to recover from that loss, whether they show up or not, so I can get ready for the next hour and the next thing. So that lack of respect is very violating for me when I'm holding so much space for so many people in so much pain. And I think people feel very comfortable with me, so they don't realize what it's costing me to hold space for them when they can't show up on time. Yeah.
I got a metaphor that maybe is reflective.
Okay.
You feel like, you're trying to be this steady train going down the tracks. It's a lot to operate that, and keep that moving. And maybe for folks who miss their appointment, their stop at the station, they feel like that's just I missed the train's going to keep going. It's no big skin off my back, her back. But then it's more maybe for you, like then being a coin in the track. There's something that throws off your rhythm. It's something that has to be dealt with, adjusted for, and then get everything back on track.
Yeah, it does derail me, especially because yeah. Go ahead, George.
I didn't mean to butt in. I do hear a lot of tension between the uncomfortable situation of setting those boundaries, which is like, it's actually a very, like, it's right to advocate for your time, and what your time is worth, and other people like there's a part of you that wishes they would see that as well. And there's tension between that need to advocate and also the like the comforting like presence that people are getting used to, like a reputation. It's like a reputation you already have is in tension with the situation, which is harmful.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for getting that. That felt like it landed. Yeah. I embody something that really does not work within the time scale of 1 hour or a half hour. And people get very sleepy very quickly and they forget what space they have used up and what they have taken. And I rarely talk about this to anyone. So you're getting a really small window into a moment that I'm willing to share this just because it came up this week. But mostly I just use it as a practice of setting a clear boundary, looking for patterns, and being curious in those patterns. How did I set that up also? So, yeah, thank you for hearing me, each of you, including our new arrival, Sarulin. Sarulican.
It's like the color cerulean.
Cerulean. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
just liking. Yeah,
Cerulican.
sorry.
Yeah, thank you. So we're gonna go on our world hop next. And we're gonna start with this one. And we're gonna ask ourselves, what about this world makes community? And what about this world breaks community? Yeah, Jog.
I think the swaying of the grasses and the leaves on the trees and the gentle music is really lulling. And and it makes me, and I don't know about others, but feel really comfortable just being, staying, sitting, holding this place in this space.
I agree, but like to a point where there's a couple times where I was just really listening and zoned out, and the synchronicity, they're all moving, or at least sets of them are kind of moving in the same exact pattern. And then that started to kick in a bit of motion sickness, like the parallax of the grass versus the, not like just the taste of it where I can kind of go, ooh, this might hit it for somebody.
That's right.
But
that's a good noticing. And this all has to do with stomachs, right? So and like how we get influenced by our environment. So a lot of people don't know in social VR that women tend to, unfortunately, have a much higher incidence of feeling nauseous and dizzy in VR. And so thankfully for Jog, this is actually really soothing. But another woman who comes in here, especially if they're new to VR, this might have been too much. And what's really painful is that they don't realize, that it's not them. They didn't do anything wrong. A lot of times nausea brings up a shame experience in people. And so there's a sense of, oh, I did it. I shouldn't have been here. I was too tired. Like all the stories people make up, that means they're probably not going to come back. And I might have selected a world that made them feel like they were on a rocking boat. And so women,
that's kind of the sensation I got too. Kind of.
Yeah.
If I can also add, it's not just this world, but some other worlds, but also places too. Experiencing a phenomenon known as deja revu, and recognizing like this space is something that's been tapped in before. Feels with me with a bit of like a sense of fear within my own mind sometimes, recognizing what I'm ignoring, or what I'm supposed to experience too. But so it's occupied in that same space of there's fear, there's worry, what's happening here, but then there's also recognizing this is an experience meant for me or meant for all of us here as well. So my presence helps others, but it also is helping my own presence being here.
There you go. So it sounds like it's working for you. Another piece I noticed aesthetically about this world is when I first came into it, I almost left immediately because I thought that the fire spot was the only part of the world. When I found the bridge that came over to this island, then I was happy and I was like, good. I do not like to have circles next to spawn points. It doesn't work very well. So then this.
Well, and speaking of this circle, though, I got a problem.
Yeah.
What's the well is not only
exactly
fake, it like disrupts the circle. Like if you wanted to sit on these benches as like the base of your gathering.
Yeah.
Like you can't even see.
And that's actually true for the other island over there. There's this big vortex in the middle that I thought was going to take us somewhere or something, but it's just taking up the middle space. So really the only place to have an actual circle, if that's what this world was supposed to be used for, would be off to the side or in the very entrance. But then you get the possibility of people spawning in and feeling a lot of awkwardness arriving here and not being oriented before they're thrust into the middle of a circle group. So,
to point out something though that is kind of nice though, the water doesn't make you fall off the map like normally, like most worlds. So there's a sense of like vastness to it a little bit. Oh.
That's too good. Oh, that was awesome. Where'd everyone go?
No, I feel like my legs are strangely bent.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Are they?
They're good. They're good.
Not when you're standing up looking straight ahead. When
That's
you look
funny.
down, you do kind of start to crouch, so that's what probably you're seeing.
Oh, really?
It is a little awkward when you're in half body. Your legs are kind of just dependent on however they're rigged on that avatar.
Yeah, you look pretty upright.
Knees.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
good.
only distort when you observe them.
There's a play space mover thing that if you like want to fine tune like your positioning, you can set up. So then you can just kind of grab space and change your height.
Before we go, I would love for us to come over to the bridge. I get a little nerdy about bridges these days. And let's get a picture on the bridge. And then we're going to go to the next world. Hopefully somebody has one ready. Such a cool...
I got one I was thinking.
Yeah?
If nobody else has anything top of mind.
I have one of my home worlds that I could share too.
Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, this one's
the
pretty.
one I'm thinking is it's a guy named Lefty on the Ancients does a lot of his events in it, and it's his astrophotography house.
Okay.
They're actually currently doing Bad Movie Night there.
Cool. We're facing this way. We've got a cool sunset behind us. And Theo, could you stand in the back, maybe? There you go. Perfect. Yay. Okay. There's our photo. Woo. Aw, so cute. Okay, and we're going to get a photo at the end, but that gives us another bridge for our bridge album, considering we are called bridge makers. Okay, so Carl's got a world. Does anyone else have a world for us to go to before we do our checkout, which will be soon? We can do maybe 2 worlds today. Okay. Oh, hey. George, did you switch avatars?
Oh, yeah, I kind of have a FBT avatar and then a desktop avatar. Just kind of a habit of mine. And this is my preferred desktop avatar, mainly for the Go-Go Local.
Gotcha.
Nice, okay.
So I guess
all right, I got a portal in my hand.
Okay.
It is there.
All right, we got 2 worlds. Let's go. Ooh. God, it's so different to be in a bright space.
And this one's a bit of a weird framing because it's like
There we go.
Lefty's like personal astrophotography hobby house, but he uses it for Ancients events, so it has some things that'll be reflective of Ancients. He's got a shout out to a astrophotography community over here, but he's used this world for a few years now and iterated on it and such. So it is a public, accessible, published world, so there shouldn't be anything too weird.
Okay.
I haven't been here in a while.
We're just walking
disclaimering
around.
myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, checking out what's going on.
Got telescopes that are scanned. Interesting. Oh. There's a mirror. There's shadows.
Yeah.
A random
Like
thing.
the in-joke kind of thing, like if you know on a lot of this stuff, and honestly, I don't know. I think a lot of it's reference to different
It's a
bad
Lao.
movie stuff.
Lao's ego is coming through the mirror. Wow,
Is that a
Lao.
mirror for you?
Quite a picture.
It's a window from in here.
Wow.
This is the house proper inside here where we're at.
Lao is being art.
Oh, how did you guys get?
Go
what?
back through the door and come through the.
Oh my
other
god, that was such a
door.
cool picture I just got. Oh wow. It's like kaleidoscope art almost.
Yeah, come through here.
Oh.
I just realized now, looking back at this room, why?
The fire.
That's really weird
Cozy.
looking.
Oh, what?
Is that a skull?
Whoa.
Ooh.
Whoa. Wait,
Oh
whoa.
my
What is
God.
that?
Look at that.
Gives me heebie-jeebies.
Oh, is that a cat?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, it's gone now.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, Lefty's whole thing is
Oh.
possums, so there'll be
Oh.
plenty of possums in here.
That's so interesting. I feel like I'm in somebody's
There you go.
man cave or something. Wow.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
This is
Yeah,
a-
pretty
Kinda
much.
like
I
that.
think.
Yeah. The work area.
Hell of a
Yeah.
I'll
power
make you
surge
mine.
detector.
Oh my god.
That kind of reminds me of when I went to QuakeCon and we had a huge, long power outlet that had to be connected to all the PCs.
I mean, I like it
I
as an
think these
example
are
of
literally
really...
Lefty's own
Yeah, exactly. I think-
astrophotography examples. throughout the
Yeah.
year.
Those are cool.
This is a way to very deeply demonstrate his passions and his hobbies and
Oh, gosh.
Expression,
Wow.
yeah.
oh good.
I
Nice.
hadn't seen any of this room. This is all new to me over here.
Reject humanity, return to possum. Okay.
Whoa, that's not pinball. What is it? Ski ball?
Wow.
That's cool.
No, it's just a bottle.
Wait, where'd you guys
You were
go?
So
looking
I
at
think
that
it too
over
kind
there.
of shows his progression a little bit on
Oh,
adding
yeah,
on
I
things
think-
that have different
Drink
prefabs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but a lot of it
The
is
good
you
news,
Do I
know,
take a
you
shot
can
of
drink
water?
water to
anything.
facilitate
Yeah.
and make
Yeah,
yeah,
take a
good
shot of water
gathering
every time I
points for
drink.
people to
Yeah. Nice.
Oh my god, no way.
In the bottle?
That's actually.
Oh yeah, have you ever seen this?
There they are.
Hey,
Oh my god.
You found us.
Audio pillow.
Scan
Player. What does
where?
that do? Click.
Oh,
Go inside it.
if you
This
if
way.
you get inside of it, it'll
Uh,
take a picture of you and it'll put you
that's
on the body pillow.
suspicious. Oh god.
Oh, I should do that.
Take a
You
picture.
want a Gundam body
The
pillow?
women in the room are
Yeah,
very
yes.
cautious right now, and there's a reason for that.
I'll take a hit for the
Gundam
team.
body pillow.
Take one for the
Gundam body
team.
pillow.
I don't know how you act. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you
There
go.
we go.
See.
What?
Well, I think once you
Nice.
step out of it, it
Oh,
turns it
yeah,
off.
it-
Maybe.
Oh, so I have to be in it the entire time. Okay. Yeah.
Or
you
I
have
think
to
like
stay
for a
until
full
it
scan or
captures.
something.
I see. Let me. There we go.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I see. Whoa.
You're trapped in a pillow. Okay.
There you go.
That's a
Now
big
you
one,
should.
too.
Now you should be able to see it.
Oh, and
Oh,
it's
that
still
is-
Wow.
Interesting.
Oh
Yeah,
no!
nice.
So see, this is.
I mean-
you can't see
what?
this
No
big
quest.
body pillow here.
I can see the pillow, but I don't see an image on it. It's
Yeah,
just
it just
Oh,
a blank
projected
pillow.
Are
the
you?
robot's image, and you're in Quest. So this is
Yeah,
this is
probably
a
because your
piece.
Quest it doesn't
Like,
work.
think about if we weren't actually talking about it, and it wasn't normal to talk about this, what this would feel like for a jog to have everybody laughing and have to be the person to say, I don't feel what everyone else is doing. That gets freaking exhausting. And
Well,
it can,
and I'm gonna yell at Lefty. I'm gonna be
yeah,
like, put a disclaimer on your body pillow box.
yeah, at minimum, right? Because
Sorry,
it can be
Questies.
crazy making, just like somebody seeing something that nobody else can see.
Oh wait, look, top line.
Not available.
Oh, not
on
available
Quest.
on Quest right now.
I'm too lazy to remove this text,
Oh.
or I'm too late. Oh
Or,
wow,
so.
wow. But what I'm saying is that
Oh,
when somebody sees something that everybody else can not see, they feel crazy. But it's also the reverse. When somebody doesn't see something that everybody else can see, they feel crazy. And that can ding people really quickly. So world creators get to recognize that even though it's fun to put these tricks in, it's important to let everybody know very early in the process there are experiences in here that questies cannot see. And without that disclaimer and that awareness, then Jog has the courage and the fortitude to keep letting us know. But a lot of people won't. They'll just leave.
Yeah.
And that's just really painful to just, be enjoying something at the expense of other people. So thank you, Jog, for continuing to tell us. We're testing worlds.
And as much as I like to, I'll make light of it, then I'm going to yell at Lefty or whatever. But on Ancients, we do make sure as policy that every event must be tagged appropriately as if it's Quest compatible, and a soft policy of like for world hops, you're always going to put your Quest compatible stuff front loaded so that, and then have a kind of, check out then and, kind of make note of it and, wish everybody well before you continue on.
So just remembering, like the other thing I noticed, Jog, that was happening is you would feel people move, but you were disoriented. You're like, how did you all get to where you are? I can hear you somewhere, but I can't find you. So, this is just something to stay aware of. Is like this world might be good for people who really know each other and feel comfortable telling each other if they can't find each other. But Jogs had 2 hits here that might have made her leave if she wasn't feeling more comfortable with all of us. So,
So real quick, I'll just share then before anybody else offers observations. My goal in bringing this was more as an example of like an in-joke kind of community world for the community. So a lot of this stuff will be like referential, but if you don't know, you don't know.
You don't know.
So I wasn't not necessarily saying like this is a great world to bring a group to foster community. But it is a community world.
There you go. Exactly. And for people who know Lefty, they might have a lot more forgiveness of things they can't see because they're still seeing a lot of things they can, and they're getting to know somebody that they care about. But for people who don't know Lefty, this just could feel really exclusive and cliquey. So, okay, one more world, and then we gotta circle up to say goodbye. So let's drop a portal. Thank you for showing us Lefty's photography world. This is really mesmerizing.
This one.
So you're just gonna make a Friends Plus world.
I can. It looks pretty already.
I will drop.
Let me.
It appears really nice in the portal.
Here, I got
Isn't that
Let that one expire.
meditation world? I think I'm trying
Hold on, wait.
Come in this.
Don't go in there.
This one.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Wait, what?
Come into this one.
This one?
Yeah.
This one.
Carl, it looks like somebody went in there. Can you grab them? And...
Yeah, it was Lau. So.
Okay, Lau will come.
I'm thinking you'll know what's up.
I'll send him an invite.
Oh yeah, I've been here.
Yeah.
I've come here with to a mindfulness VR thing. I think they were doing a
We
meditation.
came here
thing
for sort of to debrief on sort of 1 week.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
too. I think. So that was a return.
So there's seats on the pillows that allows everybody to sit even if they don't have Go-Go Loco, which is lovely.
The pillows are very inviting the first
They
thing you
are.
see. Even
Yeah.
if it is
There's-
close to
Agree.
spawn, it's like you just can't resist.
There's also a button. There's these buttons on the side. You can turn off the music if you want to, so you're just listening to nature, and you can have a good focus, like meditate.
Mhm.
In this world. And then this pillow I noticed, it's over here. I don't know which spot it's gonna be. Okay, right there. I'm trying to click on it. There's a spot. Yeah, you can just lay.
Wow.
Off, and it just like look at the sky.
Well, that's one way to put it. I think for no warning on it, it's definitely are my
A
feet
jump scare.
sticking up in the air like I'm
Yeah,
No,
they're
it's
leaned
that
over
you're
the
in the
pillow.
like seated position and you're down into the ground. If you were standing straight up in the chair, you would be laying vertically. Or
Old timey
horizontally
NASA
on your
pilot
back.
position.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting my pilot training right
Dude,
now.
You don't have a play space move?
Nice.
Because you could pull yourself up out of the ground.
I don't know. It's also very
Wait,
disorienting
which
to try to get the camera to actually work. So our YouTube audience are going on an adventure right now, and they don't even know where we are. Sorry, YouTube audience.
You're over by
flowers
the
are bugging me.
grass or the
I hate that they're
garden.
the type that are, I don't know the term for it, but they're just like always oriented the same to your view. So as you turn your head,
the
every
perspective
flower is
follow.
rotating.
Oh no, I didn't notice it until you mentioned it.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
PDFs instead
If you keep
of
like
like
a
real
natural
flowers.
head sway, it's kind of nice though.
Yeah. If you're just like breathing in and out, it's a nice little
Oh my
sway.
gosh.
Yeah.
Now my camera is
Moving around those
upside
does.
down.
But if you
This
sweep
way.
around, it's like
No.
they're all staring at you.
I should have been the one that sat.
It's so funny. Now I can't get my camera to be right side up. So now all the YouTube oh, there we go. Now it's working. That was wild.
They went Australian mode.
Is that what happens?
Yeah,
So-
whenever you're upside down.
Oh, in the down under? Nice.
Yeah.
So what I appreciate about this world is how thoughtful it is to give the people that come here a quiet kind of invitational presence based
And
experience.
you can also explore it too as well.
Yeah.
As Lau is already outside.
Yeah. Look at Lau.
Oh, you can go outside.
Oh, Lau.
Yeah. It's over this way. And then some other things too. Something I never noticed about this world. There's a pen here with the incense. There's a pen here, and you can draw with the incense.
Wow. That's pretty fancy. I like the font on this pen too. It's interesting. It's like
Multicolor.
yeah.
And then over here is where you can come outside.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Is that
you
button.
you have to click the button to the outside. So that's not
And
necessarily
then it's
intuitive.
not.
Yeah.
It's not too intuitive how to get back. You have to walk through this wall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Carl is in the
And you
tree.
can't walk the other way? No.
Perched.
Carl's in a tree. Oh.
No, because the walls are one-sided.
Oh, that's nice. I do like that. That's interesting. Huh.
It's just
So,
kind of weird
yeah.
because the building doesn't look like it was designed for you to be out here.
If I
But
was
it'll let you.
if I was to
explore
use this
anyway.
world to host something, and we're probably going to do our checkout here, I would have people meet out here. Not people. Just do not think about entrances and giving
Don't
people
go
a build
for
up to
swim,
join the
y'all.
group
You'll
space.
get stuck.
Uh
You'll
oh.
get stuck.
Oh no. I hear your voice in the mountain. You are now the voice of the river.
Became a part of the mountain.
What is the
Yeah, you have
river's
to be
wisdom
careful of
for
the
us
water.
today?
When you're made of metal, you sink and you can't get back out.
Time to test the theory. Oh, yeah,
Let's
you're
see.
right.
Oh, hi. I got
Hello.
out.
Whoa.
No, yeah, you gotta be careful.
There we go. I got it.
Nice.
Nice.
That's great. Okay, so do you all understand why I wouldn't have a checkout event at the entrance of this world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Near the spawns.
It's too close to the spawn, and that puts everybody's bodies on alert because any moment our event could be disrupted by somebody figuring out how to get in here, and then it also puts those people in kind of a deep end response where they're thrown into the deep end, and now they're sitting there and going, I don't know that I signed up to be in this super focused circle. Like, I didn't get to consent by approaching. I'm just thrust into it. So, but really,
are we all this loud?
Am I loud?
You were just suddenly quite loud when you started talking out here.
Huh. Do I sound loud to everyone?
I didn't notice.
Only
I was
when I'm
still on the inner
really
circle.
close to you, I think.
Huh. It's distance
You
related.
can still hear me just fine. Can you still hear me over here?
Your voice fades out for sure. That river is really interesting. How slow it is. It's like a weird practice in trying to let that be real. Slowing everything down. Yeah. Thank you for bringing us here. Who do you think this world is not good for? We can be silly also. Like people who have allergies to flowers.
Their head around really quickly.
Yeah.
I guess with like boredom to explore in a sense, like not willing to, or thinking that they probably would just see that aspect of it, or like sort of like everyone getting stuck into the river when they're trying to explore.
I mean, it's kind of a cool, if everybody got into the river and stuck their heads out, that's a fun photo.
Become one with the pond.
Yeah, oh, that's true too.
Become one with the river, people. See if we can get our heads in there.
Oh, it's very deep. I didn't expect it to have these deep
We're getting
parts.
into a rut. I'm going to go higher up. Let's see. Okay. Let's see if I can. Oh, yeah. See, I can sit it up here, and we're going to get
I think it's that lower part that you can get like stuck into though.
Yeah. Gotta get your head out.
The same rut as Cyan.
Do I need to move?
I'm gonna.
No, you're good. You got a good rut there.
Look at that.
Like a roller coaster.
It is.
We're all on the roller coaster.
Slow roller coaster of meditative drowning.
Oh, my bad.
There's drops here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Look at all y'all. Oh my god. So I only see Lau's hands. I see a tiny head popping out.
Oh my god, there's so many in the water too.
Try to change your avatar size to get above the water, maybe, or change how high you are up. Nice, yeah, that's good. We almost got everybody. This is good. Oh, you're so cute. Look at all you.
There we go.
Okay, almost. Whoever's blue with their hands up. Okay. There's yep. Lau, hop back in. You're almost there. I only see your. Okay, we're gonna go with that. That's so cute. Wow. Okay, now we've had that memory, everybody. Well done. Okay, let's circle up here, and we're gonna do a checkout. And Carl, why don't you introduce our checkout routine?
Okay. I'm stuck in this rut.
Yep.
Happens to the best of us.
That's the routine. We all feel stuck in the rut.
All right.
Oh, Carl responds. Nice. Lovely. So we're going to circle up, and Carl's going to tell us what we're doing next. Some of you have done this before. Some of you have not. Everybody can participate, even if you just walked in. So I'm going to give you that qualifier. Here's Carl.
I hover.
Ascend.
Looking a little like Buddha Jesus Christ, clown version. Okay.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Down in the
Water.
weird flowers.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
I'm
Weird.
I'm on the edge. I'm not in the water.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You're doing that thing
All
again.
right, so
Just a little nudge, not all the way.
It's
This
about
happened
25.
last time.
Just
There you go.
yeah, you gotta be gentle.
You got it.
That's
Well
good enough.
done. You got it.
Good enough. Good enough.
All right, so yeah, the checkout appreciation game. We're gonna seize this imaginary ball in the middle that we will make real through the power of our minds, and we will pass it amongst each other, one at a time. Try to pass it to somebody who you don't think is going to expect it from you in that moment, and offer any sort of appreciation you have, and then they can throw it to the next person. I think that pretty much covers it.
That's it. Yep.
So if anyone would like to seize the ball, carpe la ball. If
You
not,
want to grab it?
I'm gonna grab it because I thought of one earlier and I tried to like really put a pin in it in my mind so I didn't forget it. So I don't want someone else to appreciate my person, who is Lau.
Ow, catch the ball.
Toss the ball over to Lau.
Big.
More of a layup. It grew. I had it just in one hand.
You got big.
But when Lau reflected Jogs' share earlier, it was really, reflective of just like the emotional core of it. Whereas I maybe struggle with that a bit and tend to kind of try to find the bullet points of the if and the then of the statement and, build off of that. I think that's something that I'm working on myself, trying to just hear the emotional communication that comes through. So Lau kind of modeled that for me.
Nice. Thank you, Lau. Well done.
Thank you. I'm honored. I'm so I'm honored. Yeah. I didn't expect this to be so early.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we followed the rules.
Okay, I'm gonna throw it to. I cannot bring the ball myself to my like. Okay, yeah, I cannot pick it home. I cannot get it home, so I'll throw it to Cyril.
Hey, Cyril.
Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. Even though you have a hangout or a meeting or event or the others, you still decided to come out and check what's happening here. Thank you for your motivation and your attention.
Nice.
No problem.
Yay.
So I'm supposed to like pass this to someone and whoever I'm trying to appreciate.
Yep.
I get this right. Okay. I don't really know.
And it can be as simple as something about somebody's demeanor, their avatar, just how the sound of their voice made you feel. It does not have to be deep or profound, but it's about acknowledging that this moment somebody grew you and letting them know that.
You know what? I'll give it to George then.
George.
Because I do like your avatar. And I do remember seeing you at another event before. So I'm somewhat familiar, and it's good to see you again.
Hey.
It's always good to see familiar people around.
Oh. That's lovely.
Open
George.
mind, open mind, open mind. And Bridge Makers was the bridge towards open mind because of how much cross-pollination there is. And yes, I am forcing that pun down your throats.
In a world full of flowers.
I appreciate you, Theo,
Theo.
for bringing your whole
Hello.
self and diving so deep with with uh, with everything you shared. And when I got the chance to reflect on that, even if it was like, as you said, hey, uh, flying through the clouds or even being a bit lost in the clouds, it was a journey I appreciated flying through those clouds with you in that moment. I genuinely enjoyed that.
Well done.
Thank you so much, George.
Mhm.
I do deeply appreciate that sentiment
Mm.
of what you said for me, and sort of the journey through the clouds is a very beautiful analogy. I appreciate that.
Mm. Lovely.
I'd like to give the ball. I'm not holding my hands out because I'm not in VR.
That's okay.
Heyueh, I'd like to give the ball to you.
Thank you.
I appreciated just so much of the patience and listening, and so much of this space is always so deepeningly prophetic, and I sense a piece of myself within these times and moments with one another, and especially with you, that always makes it seem like there's a harmony with everybody around me. To really appreciate and recognize, like, sometimes what I can see is sometimes not every aspect of that story. So reflecting on and recognizing to deeply understand and listen more to someone's story, and to give them the words and connection needed.
Thank you. That's good to hear. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice to hear. I am going to throw this to Jog. Whew. Catch it. Oh, you got it. It landed. Jog, I want to appreciate you for your subtle pain that is really deep but very real, and how you navigated sharing that today, with some warning in it of saying there's complexity here, and I want you to see that I got missed in this journey. I was trying to be visible and it became political, and you held on to that and you got that reflected back. And that kind of hope inspires me, that I can hold a space where people can remember themselves like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So I'm going to throw to Carl. And thank you, Carl, for acknowledging me on Discord, for reminding me of the event, and for making me feel welcome even though I couldn't be as punctual as I would have liked. Better late than never.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, I appreciate you echoing that, because that one felt a little like maybe flippant by me, dismissive, or, but, I'm glad it landed how more I intended, of the, like, no.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so then I get the bonus of when you grab the ball, and I get to close it up. I believe Crescent is our last person here.
I think
And
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate the
Threw it?
show of consistency there. Yeah, we threw it.
Okay.
He caught it.
Okay, he got it. Okay.
Yeah. The we talked a lot after Scott's event the other night, and you got yourself into the server there, and you kind of went through the whole process there, and it's just real gratifying to see somebody kind of going through the pipeline, as it were, that
Mhm.
we've set up, the funnel, as Heyueh likes to
Mhm.
call it. And, I appreciate the, bearing with me when you first showed up, of me being like, wait, are you that guy again? Because, it's real easy to forget somebody just through an avatar change sometimes. So, speaking
Right.
of that, I'm going to go ahead and I used to be in the habit of just like adding everybody that wasn't a child that was cool. And that way I didn't have to worry about public instances. Somehow I'm still not even friends with Lau. So everybody gets a friend request.
Thank you, Kyle. So, Crescent, you have the ball now. You are welcome if you want to throw it to someone else. Everybody gets the chance to offer an appreciation, or you can take it home with you and sell it on eBay or whatever. Dip it in chocolate
Can I
and
give
eat
it
it
to
for dinner.
everyone?
Sure.
Question mark.
Only
like
the
to
last
appreciate.
person can give it to everyone. By the way, don't try this unless you're the last person.
I will assume full avatar and
Yeah.
cast ball on everyone.
Woo! Everyone catch the ball.
Thank you guys.
Wow.
Yay.
You don't know
I
what
appreciate
you've
all
done.
this.
Oh, was there anything specific about your appreciation or just overall gratitude?
Oh yeah.
What did you learn?
I'm still pretty new to VR chat, so I appreciate you guys' patience because I'm still trying to figure it out. Like today, I barely just made this avatar, so it's not rigged properly and all that. So I'm trying to figure it out. But thank you guys.
I love how you're like, I'm new to VR chat and I'm already creating things. So thanks for bearing with me. That's not a normal thing.
Big
Oh
ball
my
on
gosh.
everyone.
There's the big ball. It's also a person. Nice. Thank you, Crescent. Okay, where should we get our group photo for the night and figure out where our word? Oh, now the ball has died in the river.
The water slide is consumed once again.
Yeah. Does anybody have a good idea, or did we already get our group photo? We'll call it good.
There is a ocean at the other side of the, that side.
Yeah, we can go over there.
Or
we'll respawn and get a picture under the tree. Okay, everyone know how to respawn?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So you open.
It's in your menu. Yeah.
The square menu. Is you're gonna open up and it's next to go home.
Oh, respawn. I just do respawn.
You do it.
Click respawn.
Yep. Perfect. Yay.
And I'll just scoot on over here.
You got it.
Oh yeah.
Bonk.
This is a good spot.
Okay.
We can sit on the ground. Everyone will stand behind us. We'll be good. Okay, so now as you are positioning yourself for the perfect group photo, think about what is our word for the evening to capture something about what this was. What's our word? Nice.
Just a big yawn.
The word is gentle yawn.
It's a yawn. Okay, everybody yawn. This is our group photo. Oh.
I was thinking blissful.
Blissful. There we go. Ah, that's a nice one. I think I'm going to make everybody yawn from now on for the group photos because you can do that in social VR.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. So our next event is Sunday at Street Epistemology, where we practice having arguments on purpose and doing it with a lot of empathy about absurd, silly, and very serious things. And so you're all invited to come to that. And then in a couple of weeks, we're already very close to halfway through the month. We have our 1-year anniversary. So we have our leadership summit coming up that the helpers are hopefully organizing. And so we'll see what's going to happen there. I will be as surprised as everyone else. But if you'd like to get involved with that, you can reach out to Carl, or Lau is now one of our helpers. We can all celebrate Lau. Just became a helper, I think, 2 days ago. Woo! And any of the helpers should be able to take your ideas and bring it to our circle and maybe even let you get involved with us. I am your burned out leader that has very little juice to put together a 1-year celebration. So it's all up to you. Go for it. It's good to see you all tonight. Friday evenings are always delightful because we get to do this labor of love that turns into a labor of play and then a release, which we did in our yawn today. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to go to bed now. See you later. Good night. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
And good